Some of my earliest memories are of Julia Child on television. She was an American chef and author and is recognized for having brought French cuisine to the American public with her debut cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Her most notable show, The French Chef, exposed the world to the wonder that is French cuisine, and one of those dishes is duck à l'orange with bigarade sauce, roasted duck, and orange supremes. This is a dish not for the faint of heart. So what can possibly go wrong when the Auntie Chef attempts this dish for the first time? We're gonna find out. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my amazing patron, Amy Bethel. Thank you so much for your support. And with that said, on to the reaction.
I'm making up duck à l'orange today. This is from Julia Child. It's a roast duck with orange sauce. I'm cooking with duck today, so you better hold on to something.
I have the original book.
Volume 1 today, Mastering the Art of French Cooking from JC.
I have that book.
I've worked up the courage today to tackle duck. I've avoided this part of the book long enough.
You think I've cooked a few ducks in my life?
I think you have done a few ducks in your life. In fact, you have done so many ducks. I have made it one of the foundations of our gochujang à l'orange sauce, a name so complicated and terrible for marketing that when Frenchie was at a chef's event yesterday, he couldn't even recall the name. And he called me and he said, "What's the name of that sauce again?" And I told him, gochujang à l'orange. Gochujang. I was like, à l'orange is French. What is wrong with you? You just need to know how to pronounce the first half. Anyway, don't buy our sauce. Link in the description below. Don't go there and click it. Don't buy this for the holidays and want to try some Korean vibes mixed with French vibes. It is actually very good. I highly recommend it. And shout out to Samsa House. This is in collaboration with Samsa House. Love you, man.
And check out for all the Easter eggs on it.
Yes, all the little Easter eggs. So this is Auntie Chef. He is famous for bringing to life recipes from Julia Child's cookbook.
Oh,
and
my favorite cookbook.
Yes, one of the greatest cookbooks ever. And I knew you would like this because you have done and still do sell a lot of duck à l'orange.
So when my father and his brothers started in New York, all the recipes in this book is what we were making. It's like we were famous, and she came to restaurants, all the restaurants a few times to do her homework and everything like that.
Nice.
One of the most well-known of all duck dishes, a roast duck decorated with fresh orange segments and accompanied by an orange-flavored brown sauce. Yeah, I read over this part of the book a dozen times just to wrap my head around it, because this is all new to me and kind of a learning curve here. But the best way for me to learn is by doing. So I'm just gonna do what I always do. Jump out of the plane without a parachute.
Wait, he's not gonna read the
first
recipe?
and hope for the best.
Oh no, he did say he read over the recipe numerous times to try to wrap his head around it, because duck à l'orange is definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
It's one of those dishes, if you are having a first date over and you do not have at least a firm grasp on some basic cooking techniques, you probably want to avoid this one. It is pretty difficult. There is a lot of skill involved.
Let's get started. Here is my duck.
Oh! Yeah! Pat LaFrida! I wonder why I was wearing this hat!
Did you know?
No, I actually didn't know. I forgot my mission hat in the car, so I wore the Pat LaFrida hat. Okay, so Frenchie, being that I have a lot of experience with duck, making Peking duck, but obviously for duck à l'orange, you have extensive experience. For the uninitiated, for anyone who hasn't worked with duck before, what are some tips or things you would keep in consideration before diving in?
I mean, the size of the duck doesn't really matter. It's just gonna cook, your duration is gonna be changed. You just gotta adapt to the weight, that's all. Okay. Usually recipes should adapt to weight.
Not necessarily. If the weight is higher on the protein, then you would have to scale up on the accoutrements, right?
Accoutrement?
The accoutrement.
I like this episode.
Yeah, you do. I know. I'm making you happy. I tortured you a little bit, not too long ago. So trying to make it up.
It's nice. I mean, this is something I haven't seen anybody else do this. Like, I'm the only one who does the duck à l'orange.
Are you sure about that? In a restaurant?
In the restaurants?
Yeah.
Who's making duck à l'orange?
True. Well, I mean, you don't see it that often.
Not the classic way. They do a variation.
Yeah, but it's definitely out there. But as far as like a classic duck à l'orange, I mean, yours is definitely up there.
I know.
Smells like a dead duck. At least it doesn't have the head on. Believe me, it's fresh, but it smells.
Yeah, but that's normal.
Yeah.
It's also the gas that they use to preserve it. It smells.
Oh, okay.
So it's.
Do you know what kind of gas that is?
Oh, I don't know.
I have to make a duck stock to start. So I gotta remove the lower wings. There's no diagrams on how to do this, so I have to figure it out on my own. Thank God for Google. Oh, Jesus. Figured out how to
Wait.
get the neck out. It's just
Did he not know all that
pulled out.
stuff was in there?
So he's clearly not a professional chef.
Oh, he's not?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's
What's his name?
actually I don't know. His channel is called Anti-Chef.
Oh, I get anti-chef because he's not a chef.
He's not a chef.
Okay, this makes sense then.
Which is a very interesting
Okay, well, that's
watch.
good to know. So
Yeah.
now I have a different perspective
Yeah.
and tolerance watching this.
Okay.
My big ass saucepan, tablespoon of pork fat. Get that going on like a medium heat.
Oh, he
Duck
should have.
stuff.
Very minor thing.
Yeah.
Him not being a professional chef, I'm not gonna dock points, but he had that big chunk of fat from the duck.
Yep.
He could have put that
Rendered
in
that.
the pot, rendered it out, and used that fat.
Exactly. I was
And
gonna
my
say that.
vegetables. This all needs to be brown.
Oh,
Oh, so he should have
Yeah.
browned the protein first. And again, this is for the home cook, guys. Like, actually, no, this applies to the professional kitchen. The why of roasting and browning your protein first before you do the vegetables is because your vegetables have so much water. If you put them in together, you're basically going to start steaming the vegetables, and steam and moisture is the enemy of browning, essentially.
So I gotta pour out all the browning fat and back on the heat. 1.5 cups of beef stock, like a brown stock.
Definitely not brown enough if he's going for a brown. For duck à l'orange, you want a brown stock, right?
it depends on the reduction, how much you're gonna reduce. Like mine, no, because I used to do. I wasn't using a brown stock because I was reduced. The oranges and everything was that is gonna give it darkness, and the sugar and
Yeah.
the caramelization.
Right.
So I tried to give myself.
So you wanted a
window.
lighter. You wanted your end product.
I just want as much duck flavor as possible.
Okay.
Right. So again, carrots, onions, sure. The onions will add to the sweetness. The carrots will add to the sweetness, and then the duck actually will give you a lot of flavor, right?
Yeah.
But I would not have added the beef stock because that's conflicting flavor.
Right. Okay. So you would have gone water here.
I would have gone water, chicken,
Yeah.
chicken stock maybe,
Okay.
but not beef.
Okay.
Couple parsley sprigs. She says 1/3 of a bay leaf. I'm doing a whole bay leaf. And thyme. And enough water to cover the duck by 1/2 inch.
Okay.
Gotta keep this simmering for 1.5 hours, partially covered. And I gotta be skimming it throughout.
Another reason why you would have wanted to render it before is you could have avoided all that.
Right.
A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work. You only need very little fat for browning. Because also, if you put too much fat, it can also take you longer to get browning.
Yeah, but there were so many uses. You could also like render it and then reserve that fat. You could use it to make your roux.
Right.
You know, you could do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, you can. So going back to what I was saying, if you have too much fat, so when you deep fry something, it will brown, but it won't really get that sear unless you have your fat at a super high temperature. So notice that when someone's searing something, they're going with just enough oil to essentially coat the pan.
Very haphazardly.
Did he put the liver in there?
I don't know. I didn't see
I'm an
it.
idiot. Strain the stock. Okay, don't need that. I'm gonna pour a bunch in here. So I need to let this stock just hang out
Poor guy. He just used like 5 bowls and pots to pour off that stuff.
because it's really fatty. I couldn't skim it all. I'm gonna let the fat rise to the surface and then I'll skim it that way.
Yep.
Or just put it in the fridge. It'll
Yes,
harden.
I was just about to say. So oftentimes when I would do a small quantity of stock, I would just put it in the fridge and peel off that layer of fat the next day.
and
Four
it'll be nice
brightly
and
colored,
clean. And you could use that for something.
brightly
else, too.
colored navel oranges. Remove the orange part of the skin in strips with a vegetable peeler. Needs to be, 1.5 inches long. Cut into julienne.
So that's the job you give to the commis. That's the job that Jacques gave to Frenchie.
Well, not if he's doing it like this.
Yeah.
You should be able to do the whole orange in one peel.
Yeah.
And then you have more practical uses.
Right.
There we go. My julienne orange skin strips. Skin strips is not a good choice of word. I need a saucepan. It's around 4 cups, a liter of water. Add
I
the
can see
orange
why.
skin.
I can see why people like this channel. People have been recommending that we react to him for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, he knows exactly where he stands in this, and he's just going for it. I like that. I like that a lot. Very genuine.
Stop it. Simmer for 15.
No pretension.
Drain it and then pat it dry.
Right, no pretension.
There we go. Half a teaspoon of salt
See, I
and
would
a
have
little bit of pepper.
Okay, again, I veer off the original recipe.
Yeah.
And then I use a whole orange, right? Well, you know what? Maybe he's going to go back to it.
Okay.
But even the stock that he created from the orange peels could
Right.
have been useful.
Right.
And he tossed that out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's see.
And
Maybe
I
I'll
gotta
get back
season
to
the
it.
cavity of this quacker. Okay, here we go. Move it all about. And then I need to wash my hands. Add 1/3 of the prepared orange peel as well. There was many days before the expiration date of that duck, but it just like, it has like an odor to it. It's not like, it doesn't smell rotten or anything. It's just, it's
Gamey.
intense.
It's
So I
gamey.
got a needle and connected to all the string here. I followed along exactly to this recently with that roast squab that I did, which difficult
Now-
to even sum up what I'm trying. This bird is like,
Feel like an animal right now.
it was, I mean, the trussing was great. So first I gotta thrust the needle.
Yeah, this
through
is
the
this is
lower part
old
of the
school,
carpet.
right? You want to truss it like with a whole uniform tie, because this way it shapes your duck tooth. This is just going to close the opening, but then it'll be left to its own variant weight, and it's going to be all deformed. It's going to be like a Quasimodo.
Yeah. So if you ever seen beef with butcher's twine on it or something like that, it's not for decoration.
It's to give it shape.
It's to give it shape and uniformity so it cooks more evenly. That's actually the purpose of trussing.
Come back over the drumstick and through the tip of the breastbone. And then over the second drumstick.
Yeah, this is too complicated.
Okay, I need plenty of slack to make this work. Come on, and tie. You know what? I should probably go around this one a few times, maybe.
The whole tie
through.
should take like
Around this
4
one.
seconds top.
Make it tight. Turn the page with your clean hand. Push the needle through
What's
the
that
carcass
tattoo he
where the
has?
second joint and
Oh!
drumstick join. Push it through the corresponding side. There we go. Duck on its breast. And then fold the wings akimbo.
And you don't want to poke holes into the
I believe
bird.
akimbo is
You
just
want to
like
create a seal because
hands-
moisture is going to accumulate and it's going to seep out there, and that's going to cause a fire in your fat after. You want to try and avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, you just don't want to damage the protein too. But
believe akimbo is just like hands on the waist and then like wings like kind of backwards a bit.
Yeah, it's what these.
Thread the needle through one wing and catch this neck skin against each side. Neck skin, got my wing, hands on the waist.
Okay, this
and
is
then
super
elbows
complicated.
backward. That's akimbo. Draw the string nice and tight. Cool. Loop it back around to the beginning.
Holy
And I'm just
cow.
gonna tie a knot, lock it.
okay, I've seen you guys make your duck à l'orange. You guys don't do this.
So I gotta dry, double plies, dry the duck thoroughly.
Yes.
Yes.
Keep those hands a washing. So I got a roasting pan. Duck into the pan. This pan needs to be just large enough to hold the duck easily. That's like a match made in heaven. However, I
It
need
is.
a couple things. First, a couple carrots that I'm just gonna slice, and a whole onion. All around my ducky, I am picking up on something here.
Interesting. Okay.
Moisture, a lot of moisture.
Yeah, it's a lot of moisture. And also, if you were to put the veggies, you would want to put it in a roasting pan with a roasting rack to elevate it. And you can put those veggies down below. But even then, I wouldn't put the veggies because it's a lot of moisture. It's going to prevent browning. Let's remember though, this is not his recipe. You know, this is Julia Child's recipe.
Yeah, but he's not following the recipe.
Oh, he's definitely following the recipe.
Not correctly.
Where's the
think he's
butter?
following
And strangely enough, you
Think
don't
so?
roast the duck in butter. There's no butter. There's no mention of butter. My mind's gonna explode. Maybe it's just fatty enough that you don't need the butter. So I want to cook this duck to medium rare. As she says, overcooked duck meat is brown, dry, and disappointing. French taste is for ducks roasted to a medium rare. In the book, there's this chart, or this timetable of how to roast a duck based on the weight of it.
Okay, so 3.5 pounds, number of people, 3 to 4 people, 65 to 70 minutes, well done, 1 hour to 15 to 25 minutes. Okay.
My duck was initially 6.5 pounds, but I did remove parts of it, so maybe 6 pounds now? 6 pounds now? I don't really want to take it out and weigh it. Important to weigh the duck. So, okay. So now it's 5.5 pounds. A 5.5 pound duck takes an hour and 25 to 30 minutes for a medium rare. So I need to initially brown this thing lightly at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So
I know where this is going.
I do want to mention your best way to get your temps is a thermometer.
Yeah.
Even Guga says it himself. Don't go by time because every oven's a little different. For example, him cooking in that pot, though very lovely, the fact that it has these walls is actually going to retain moisture and will affect the cooking time as well. So always go with the thermometer. That's my opinion.
into the middle of the oven it goes. This is just a start. Okay, so I gotta reduce the heat to 350 and then turn the duck on its side? How do you do that? How's that gonna work? She says turn it on its side. So it's on its side.
But he started
So
cold.
the thing is, I gotta regulate.
He did preheat the oven in the middle of preparing the duck. I know. It's a bit rough. It is. Let's remember, he's following a recipe.
Yeah.
He's not an experienced chef. You know, and with that said,
Okay, we love him, yeah, okay.
but also,
I'm not eating that stuck though.
yeah, we'll eat it if we're house guests. Yeah, be good house guests.
It's gonna be chewy.
I feel like when Julia wrote these recipes in that book, it was geared towards the home cook. I mean, very clearly, she was always geared towards the home cook. So the average home cook is not going to have a roasting pan with a roasting rack. So do you think maybe that's why she opted for a pot in her recipe? And I don't know.
I don't think he read this properly.
Frenchie, there's something I gotta tell you. Lost Becomes just dropped a new track, Broken Mirrors, featuring Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage, one of my all-time favorite bands. Stream it wherever you stream music, and be sure to check out the music video, link in the description below. Check it out. Thanks a lot.
Broken mirrors, tell me your biggest secrets. I'll break the vow.
And the duck's always got to be making cooking noises, so you can hear that it is. Although I'm not really doing a good job regulating the heat if it's wide open. So I'm going to skim the fat occasionally. I don't need to baste it. 30 minutes it's going to be on that one side, and then I will flip it onto the other side. So while that duck is in the oven, there is plenty more to do. Firstly, I'm going to skim this stock. Fat has risen right to the top. That is what I wanted. That's all fat. Cut the oranges into neat, skinless segments. I don't really know what she means by skinless segments.
Oh, no.
Does she just mean like, you know?
She means Supremes.
Supremes.
And when you
Supreme?
Supreme, you want to peel the orange down to the flesh.
Down to the flesh, yeah.
Right? And then you...
Each individual triangle.
Right. That's how you get a Supreme.
Wedge.
Yeah.
Each individual wedge
you don't
cut out.
take each wedge and cut it off.
And that's going to be your decoration on top.
I don't know if that's what she means, but that's what I'm going with. Place these in a Tupperware till you need them. This is all mine. So Julia really stresses the importance of this orange sauce. Rich, strong, meaty duck essence, darkened with caramel, flavored with wine and orange.
What did I tell
peel.
you? Wine? Which wine?
Given a light liaison of arrowroot.
So you see it there. Like now,
Yeah.
why arrowroot? I would just use the duck fat, make a roux. That would be your thickening agent.
Right.
And why no? You want like either a sherry. You want something sweet.
It said wine.
But what
He
kind of
read
wine?
it off the book. It
Red,
didn't specify.
white, what?
I don't know.
Nah, this is wrong.
He's reading it out of the book, flavored with wine and orange peel.
No. I mean, I go so much as to use like Grand Marnier and
Yeah.
triple sec.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is not wine.
Okay.
Why are you fighting me?
I'm just providing.
What's wrong, Boo Boo? You okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Oh,
Because you guys keep buying our hot sauce. Stop that.
I'm using cornstarch, so I wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway. So let me first portion out my duck stock. I have half a cup
you mean
here,
your beef stock?
full cup there. 2 tablespoons, 28 grams of cornstarch. In the book, there's a choice between Madeira wine and port wine.
There you go.
Okay, so it's a wine.
I have them both, so it's hard to choose. Since port comes up in the book first, port it is. And I need 2 tablespoons of that. This dumbass miniature whisk. Okay, that's mixed. In my saucepan, 3 tablespoons of sugar, a quarter cup, 50 milliliters of red wine vinegar. And I gotta boil this.
You made a face at the red wine vinegar.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you don't need it. That acidity. You don't need that.
Vinegar, holy shit. So on high heat until it has turned into a mahogany brown syrup.
Yeah, vinegar over moderately high heat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Her words, not mine. It's almost there. I gotta do something with the duck. Okay, let that pause for a second.
I'm conflicted here because this is like one of my favorite, almost it's like one of my favorite recipes, and there's a lot of turmoil and going on
A lot
here.
of internal battles with you right now.
Yes. Oh
Big duck.
no!
To the other
that's
side.
rough.
I don't think it's gonna keep up.
That's rough.
Oh, that's
Yikes.
sad.
Keep that
Oh.
up. Stay put, duck. I'm gonna lean it on that for another half an hour. So let's return to the mahogany brown syrup.
So he could have avoided all that turning. And again, he's following the recipe, so I don't blame him. But if he just had a roasting pan with a roasting rack where the protein's elevated and air can reach all around, he would have to do is rotate the pan every now and then, because there's always going to be hot spots in an oven. So that's the purpose of rotating.
I mean, I at first I was very happy, but this
Yeah.
is hurting me on a different level now.
Then that wasn't my intention. I thought I was giving you something
I mean,
happy.
this is sacrilegious.
I was trying to take you to a happy.
Oh, this is no longer happy
Oh, I'm
place.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, we are transforming from purple into a mahogany. I repeat, into a mahogany. Immediately turn it off the heat.
So you made a caramel with the vinegar and the sugar, essentially. Okay. And you don't have any type of vinegar in your recipe.
No.
Yeah, because your sauce is not acidic.
No, it's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be a sweet sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Why contribute in any way by using vinegar or an acidity?
Although I don't think acidity would be too bad
Well,
in a
I
sweet
mean,
sauce like that.
Okay, you're right, because oranges do have a level of acidity.
Yeah.
But the vinegar it's
But also keep in mind, it wasn't a huge quantity of vinegar.
Now I have to add in a full cup of duck stock, as well as this cornstarch port wine mix. And honestly, it might be time to get a proper whisk. So I gotta beat that in. So no cornstarch clumps allowed. Oh, I need one more thing. The rest of the orange peel. Okay, so simmer for 3 to 4 minutes until the sauce is clear, limpid. Simmer for 3 to 4 minutes until the sauce is clear, limpid.
Read it
which is a word
out.
I've never heard of before, and lightly thickened.
Limp.
Oh, it's lightly thickened. It is, it's not clear at all, nor is it limpid. I don't know what limpid means.
Well, clear is because his stock wasn't very clear to
Yeah.
begin with. You know, you're gonna have a harder time getting a clear stock with a brown stock. So I guess that answers
And
the
the cornstarch
question.
doesn't help.
No, cornstarch will lead to a clearer
Not if you're
sauce.
cooking with it, because it'll hold on to all the impurities.
Oh, right. Well,
That's
that's why I
the
said
problem.
from the beginning he should have had a clearer stock.
What does limpid mean?
A marine mollusk with a shallow conical shell and a broad muscular foot, found clinging tightly to rocks.
What the f? Maybe it's a British term. I have a British version of this cookbook, free of anything that.
Oh, that's why. That's why there's vinegar in the recipe and it's all f***ed up because it's the British version.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
Okay, limpid, free of anything that darkens, completely clear. The
So what's an English version? Meaning that the someone has to translate it to like make it bad? Like,
That's exactly what it means.
because I have that cookbook and I have that recipe.
Yeah.
This is nothing close to it.
Really?
Is
Really?
Yeah, not even
Oh,
close.
Okay, I'm very curious to see your version of the book or the American version of the book.
I have the original.
Simmer for 3 to 4 minutes until the sauce is clear, limpid, which is a stupid word, and lightly thickened. I don't know what else I could do here.
That's
It's not
the
gonna be
best you're gonna
clear.
get.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I think this is a good looking sauce. I don't know, it tastes pretty good to me. Could use a little salt, quite honestly.
You
but
gotta be
besides
careful.
that,
That's like lava.
That's like lava.
That's as
Yes,
limpid
it
as
is.
it's gonna get. Leave that aside. So this is after an hour and 15 minutes in the oven. Let's take a look. I mean, clearly that is just an insane amount of fat. I'm gonna just take some of that out.
I touched on this a little earlier, but the reason why having too much fat will prevent browning is basically unless you're really deep fat frying at a high temperature, the moisture is going to have a hard time escaping the fat. You know, the pressure and energy from high temperature frying, causes the moisture to turn into steam and then evaporate through the oil, which is why the oil bubbles over. But when you have it like this, he's essentially confit, and it's pretty much impossible to get even searing when you're confit.
Oh no, I was actually thinking. I was someplace else there. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
This
I
has
don't
to go
Oh.
breast facing up, back in it goes for 15 minutes.
I
This
mean,
is how much duck fat I just removed from the dish. And there's still more in there. Strain this and keep it for a rainy day.
Nice.
Remember this sentence here? Overcooked duck meat is brown, dry, and disappointing. So now, for the next few minutes, my goal here is not to make this brown, dry, and disappointing. I want a medium rare duck. So I was just looking online because she doesn't really say it in here, I don't think. But a medium rare is 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So I have my eye on the prize right now. And I'm at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which isn't well done, but it's
Medium.
sakes. I thought I looked at everything in this book.
You didn't read this. I
Why
told
don't
you
my
he didn't
temperatures
read
in your
this.
book? I just anti-chefed it.
Oh, I know that
I
feeling.
cooked this thing for an hour and 15 minutes. The book said an hour and 25 to an hour and a half. So I probably should have checked the temperature around 10 minutes or 15
There
minutes
you go.
before I started
I tell you
checking
this.
the temperature.
I tell you
because
this.
This baby is cooked. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. If I press down on this, the juices have a slight rosiness to them, which is exactly what she describes in the book as being medium rare. I don't know what to follow. The book, with how it's describing what medium rare looks like, with the slightly rosiness of the juices.
And this is where experience comes in, because it's reading at 150, and you'll still get some rosy juices out of a protein at 150 degrees for sure. But yeah, with more experience, he would know, like, okay, well, it's definitely not medium rare, but I'll still have some slight pink in there.
Or is it the internal temperature, which is what I found online, but she never mentions internal temperatures in the book, which is at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So, at the end of the day, I don't know what to believe. To cut the string off. See, my theory is because there's so much
And you
duck
see
fat
now he's
in
pulling
this
off all
pan,
that
I
string.
wonder if
It's,
this-
it's ripping the skin.
Yeah.
It's just whatever.
But I wonder if this duck cooked quicker because it was sitting in all this duck fat, because there's just so much fat that came out of this bad boy. I mean, I was removing it as evidence here, but I mean, it's just a non-stop fat machine. It's a theory. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just
Has
a
anybody
theory.
confit the whole duck?
I'm sure people have.
I'm on so many tangents now.
Remove as much fat as you can from the roasting tin. Yeah, I can remove all of it if you want me to. Add this to the heat. Up high. Let's get that toasty. And I need half a cup of Madeira. This is Madeira wine this time. Madeira wins in the end.
It's a cooked.
half a cup. Madeira
It's a
wine
what?
goes in.
It's a sherry.
Okay, time to deglaze. So I gotta scrape up the
Deglaze.
fond, the coagulated stuff. Reduce it down until I have around
Foam.
2 tablespoons
Foam.
worth. That's good. Now I'm gonna bring over this other sauce. Remember the one that has the mahogany? The limpid mahogany, I'm gonna turn it to a simmer just because it's kind of looking a little jelly-like. A strainer, the cooking juices into this sauce. So next up, I need to use a good orange liqueur. I'm gonna obviously use my Cointreau, and I need 2 to 3 tablespoons.
Cointreau,
So
good.
I'll use
Very
2.5.
good. You can't put too much of that.
Yeah, it's very.
It's
strong.
measured because it's expensive.
Right.
So
A course corrector here is just a little pinch of like lemon juice. Once that's to a
Touch of
simmering, I
acid,
just turn
doesn't
off
hurt.
the heat. And what else do I have to do? Bring on the duck. You know what, at this point, I think I'm just gonna put it on this cutting board. I have my bone knife and I have my nice knife. There's a way to carve this bird. She says that the French method of carving is to make as many thin slices of breast meat as possible, 4 to 6 per side.
I like how you serve your duck. It's a half duck on a plate.
but it's deboned.
It's deboned. Yes.
So we only
Yeah.
leave the drumstick.
Yeah.
It's too late in the day for this. As follows, after the second joints and drumsticks have been removed, the duck is turned on its side. Second joints? What is a second drumsticks?
1, 2.
So all I'm doing initially to start here is just quartering this thing. So separating the whites from the dark meat. 'Cause I'm too confused right now. It's too late in the day, my friends, to learn a new trick.
Oh, poor guy.
Slicing the white meat up, and then I'm gonna keep the dark legs like whole. I'm kind of interpreting this through the book and what I saw on the internet.
Everybody's gonna get a piece of bone in their mouth. Everybody's getting it.
Also notice his knife technique. He was just like pushing it down through the flesh. You want to use the blade of the knife and actually cut.
Just before serving, I'm gonna add an ounce of butter
Yes.
into my
I like a dice.
orange sauce. That's gonna enrich the sauce. Unfortunately for me, the sauce is kind of clumped up a little bit just because it was hanging out and it was just kind
And
of
you added cold
congealed up
butter.
and kind of got a bit cornstarch clumpy, which is something I hate. So now I gotta think outside the box, and I don't know if this is gonna
I
work.
think his sauce is
if
too
I'm gonna
thick
keep
too,
this
right?
in the video. I don't know yet. Let me just pass this sauce through a sieve.
Yeah, but then what are you gonna do with
Get rid of
the?
some of these clumps. It's very thick. It's like a gravy almost. Of course, those orange peels are in there. I'm gonna have to remove those. So I've rinsed off the orange peels and had them dry.
Oh,
And now,
no.
magically, they're exactly how they were before I added them to the sauce initially. And now I'm just gonna add them to the sauce. No big deal. Don't tell anyone. Now I have to try to fix this. I'm gonna bring it to a simmer and then add more duck stock. A little bit more Cointreau, salt, the lemon juice. Yeah, that's exactly where it was. I'm gonna add my white meat first and get the dark meat. Then, of course, the orange.
Oh
I don't
no,
know,
the
I'm thinking like
Supremes.
that. So I have a couple of those orange peel slices on top as the finishing touch. Order up.
Oh,
It's camouflaged.
oh man. Listen, the duck looks good.
Yeah.
The duck doesn't look half bad.
You're just not gonna have that nice skin on it.
It's gonna be kind of a soggy skin.
I gotta show you
Yeah.
a proper duck.
Well, why don't we just show him one from downstairs?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do that. The Supremes are not really Supremes, but listen, I want to give this guy a hug. He really put in a lot of work, you know, and for someone
My
who's
God, did he put in a lot of work?
he put in a lot of
Because
work.
it's a hard dish to do, but it shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah.
So as she says here, overcooked duck meat is brown, dry, and disappointing. And I think truer words have never been spoken, because that's how I'm feeling right now. It's just kind of disappointed. And I don't really know how to review this dish without, you know, going into all these different factors that are running through my head right now, which is like, you know, accidentally ordering the wrong size of a duck. And then when I opened the bag, I was kind of thrown off by the smell of a duck. And then it's just like, you know, the price has to be a factor, super expensive. Then I had to make the stock, and then it was like a lot of build up.
How much did he pay for that duck?
Me,
Oh, I don't
inevitably,
know. I'm not sure.
eventually overcooking this duck. Let's not forget about the important element here, the sauce, which was supposed to be rich, strong, meaty duck essence darkened with caramel, flavored with wine and orange peel. And I think I got, you know, fairly close to all that, but I can't get it out of my head that it just more resembled like a gravy to me. And I don't think that was the objective. So I think it's just I don't really understand this dish. I think I'd have to go to an actual restaurant and have it served to me by like a pro or something. and then I could see what I'm looking at here. Because right here, right now, I don't know.
Is he in
Julia
New York?
Child's Duck à l'orange.
Oh, we
and at
should
the
invite
end
him
of the
over to
day,
have the duck.
I wish she made it for me instead. No, you just gotta brush it off. You brush it off. These cooks happen. Be nice in the comments, please. This was Jamie and Julia. Bon appetit.
I can say something that none of you can say.
Which is?
I've cooked with Julia Chung.
With her?
Yeah,
I
that's
know
how
you've
old I
cooked
am.
for her.
Cooked for her and with her. She came. She was there for a few days.
Where?
The original Le Cirque.
Oh, she like came to do
Yeah.
some kind of event at Le Cirque. Yeah, it sounds like something she'd do.
Before we close out this episode, I do want to say to all of my amazing patrons, thank you so much for your support. I really couldn't do this without your help. And for the rest of you, please consider becoming a patron by visiting the link in the description below. By becoming a patron, you get to take advantage of some awesome perks like early access to new episodes and patron exclusive content.
Auntie Chef, I want to give you a hug. That was a lot of work. You worked hard. I would give that a C+. You know, but for a home cook, you should be proud. You should be proud.
You need to do that like 10 more times to get it right.
And yes, this is not a dish that you give to a new cook who came into a restaurant.
No,
this
no.
The cook who is putting this dish out is one of the most experienced guys in the kitchen. With that said, I also feel bad for this guy because that's a lot of fat, and he is going to spend half a day cleaning that fucking kitchen now. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as we did making. And remember, it always gets better. And with that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef.
Frenchie, is it my Frenchie sign? My Frenchie sign isn't on!
Oh no, I forgot to turn on the yeah, I fucked up. I fucked it up.
This episode has been disappointing.
Okay, I guess we have to scrap the whole episode.
Look at my nails. They're amazing.
Look at my nails.